The bankers create money out of thin air. Between April 2009 and last year, they printed all the G7 central banks together around 35 trillion American dollars. I call it the era of techno-feudalism. If you don't have a competitor to Google, a competitor to Uber, a competitor to Facebook, a competitor to Apple, a competitor to Amazon.com, if every German or Italian or French or British producer has to go through those cloud lists in order to sell their stuff, even in Europe, Amazon makes 42 billion every year, only in Europe, pays zero tax, zero. Well, you're gone, you're finished. We're a period of unfettered financialization. The bankers create money out of thin air, and they can pluck as much money from thin air as they want. And of course, when they overdo it, under the weight of all those mountains of money that they've created, they buckle under, and something like 1929 or 2008 happens. When all these leveraged bets, that is, bets based on borrowing from the future. Not from other people, but from the future. Thin air. When Lloyds Bank or Barclays Bank give you a loan, they are not giving you money that somebody has saved. They are conjuring it up like magicians. So effectively, they type into your bank account £10,000 or 50,000 or 100,000 pounds. That money doesn't exist. It's out of thin air. Bankers have this right that is given to them by society, by you and me. While these bets work out, if the borrowers manage to make this money and also make the money to pay interest, bankers are laughing all the way to their own banks. But then at some point, all that is needed is a small pinprick to deflate this or to burst that bubble. And then what happens is you and I, and especially the working class of our countries, bail them out. The United States became the first hegemon in the history of humanity that increased its hegemony by boosting its trade deficit, by going further into the red. Operating like another powerful vacuum cleaner, the burgeoning American trade deficit hoovered up the world's net exports. And how did America pay for these imports? With dollars, which it also hoovered up from the rest of the world, as German, Japanese, and later Chinese capitalists sent to Wall Street more than 70% of their profits for recycling in Wall Street in the form of treasuries, government debt, real estate, shares, and of course, later on, the infamous derivatives. This audacious inverted recycling system, founded on America's deficits, required ever-increasing American deficits in order to remain stable. In the process, it gave rise to growth rates even faster than those under the Bretton Woods system. However, it also gave rise to gigantic macroeconomic and financial imbalances, as well as mind-numbing levels of inequality. Almost inevitably, on the back of this perpetual tsunami of capital rushing in from the rest of the world to Wall Street, financiers fashioned gargantuan pyramids of complex derivatives, what Warren Buffett referred to as weapons of mass financial destruction. They went off, and we had the GFC, the global financial crisis. Capitalism and Wall Street were saved by the G7 central banks, who printed between April 2009 and last year, they printed all the G7 central banks together around 35 trillion American dollars. That was one reason capitalism was saved. The second was China. China directed half its national income to investment, and in so doing replaced a lot of the lost aggregate demand, not just domestically in China, but also in the United States, in Germany, and Australia. The era of techno-feudalism. I believe that this third era took root in the mid-2000s, but grew strongly after the GFC, in conjunction with a rapid technological change that caused capital to mutate into a new form. I call it cloud capital. It's what lives inside your phone, inside your laptop. It's an automated means of behavioral modification. Consider the 6 things that cloud capital does. Where do you encounter it? When you go into Amazon.com, when you go into Uber. The 6 things that cloud capital does. It grabs our attention, first. It manufactures our desires. Third, it sells directly to us the things that will satiate the desires that it has manufactured. Fourth, it drives and monitors workers in the workplace, whether the workplace is a factory, an Amazon warehouse, or the cab of a truck in which a driver monitored by the same algorithm works. Fifth, it elicits massive free labor from all of us every time we click, we like, or we post whatever we do on the internet. And finally, it provides the potential for blending seamlessly all that with digital payments.
In today's digital age, the rise of tech giants has ushered in a new era of economic dominance, where a select few hold unprecedented power over our digital lives. This phenomenon, known as techno-feudalism, presents profound challenges for society as we grapple with the implications of concentrated wealth and influence in the hands of a privileged few. In the wake of the global financial crisis, the world saw a major economic shift that set the stage for what's now called techno-feudalism. Back in April 2009, when panic hit global leaders, they pumped a whopping $35 trillion into the financial system to prevent a collapse. While countries in Europe and elsewhere were tightening their belts with austerity measures, banks were swimming in cash. However, instead of using this money for productive purposes, like investing in new projects, it mainly went into buying back company shares and risky financial activities. At the same time, tech giants such as Google and Facebook were thriving, using their digital dominance to rake in enormous profits. So, in essence, techno-feudalism is driven by a combination of excessive financial liquidity, lack of productive investment, and the growing power of tech companies in the digital age.
The owners of this cloud capital, I call them cloudalists. These cloudalists have hitherto undreamt of power. They are already a new ruling class. If you look at the capitalization of the 7 cloudalist firms in the United States, also known as the Magnificent Seven, you'll find that their capitalization of those 7 firms is larger than the capitalization of every listed company in the following countries: United Kingdom, France, Japan, Canada, and China taken together. For so much cloud capital to accumulate, where did all this investment come from? Remember the $35 trillion that the G7 central banks produced after the GFC? That's where the money came. What happens when you pump huge quantities of freshly minted monies into the financial system? It's full of liquidity, it's drowning in liquidity, and you have austerity in the real economy. What happens is Bank of America or Deutsche Bank or Citigroup, they pick up the phone, they call an industrialist, British Aerospace or General Electric, and say, I've got 500 million, I'll give it to you for free, 0 interest rate. Will you take it? Now, if you're GE, right, you look around and you see no demand for your products. You already have cash, which you are too scared to invest, but you still get it for zero interest rate. You say, yes, give it to me, but you don't invest it. What you do is you go to the stock exchange and you buy back your own shares. The share price goes up, your bonus goes up, no investment. The only firms that actually invested in capital were the cloudalists, the Zuckerbergs, and the Googles, and so on and so forth. This is why I'm saying, this is my hypothesis, or thesis if you want, that our central banks paid for the explosion in the quantity and therefore the quality in the final analysis of cloud capital.
Tech giants emerged as the primary beneficiaries of this new economic order. With access to virtually unlimited capital at near zero interest rates, they embarked on a buying spree of their shares, driving up stock prices and executive bonuses. While traditional industries hesitated to invest in a stagnant market, Silicon Valley flourished, expanding its influence over virtually every aspect of modern life. Yet, this concentration of power came at a cost, exacerbating inequality and eroding the foundations of democracy.
9 out of $10 invested by Zuckerberg in Facebook came from central bank money. So the issue is not what will AI do to us in the future. The issue is what it has already done to us. In which countries is cloud capital concentrated? In the United States and in China. Europe's industries are falling behind their competitors in the United States and China in every technological race that matters, and our continent lacks cloud capital in the age of techno-feudalism, where power stems from owning copious amounts of cloud capital, the capital that only the United States and China possess.
Amidst growing concerns over the unchecked power of big tech, calls for alternative infrastructure have grown louder. Advocates propose the establishment of public cloud capital infrastructure, offering individuals digital wallets provided by central banks, free from the influence of private financial institutions. Cooperative models, where workers retain ownership and control over platforms like ride-sharing services, offer a glimpse of a more equitable future. Such initiatives aim to democratize access to technology and redistribute wealth more equitably.
We must ditch the old rentier business model of banking on holes and homes, because this old model is now a Ponzi scheme. A Ponzi scheme whose maintenance will result in a country marred by minimal investment in the things that matter, low productivity, debilitating inequality, high inflation, and low wages, pushing the talented people of this country, especially the young, into a low innovation sinkhole. Tax rents properly to make higher education free again. Tax those with concentrated power to set prices, and tax them through the nose. You care about the youth? Build social housing. Because social housing has a twin effect. Firstly, it benefits those who take it. Secondly, by increasing supply, it reduces or caps the inflation in the prices of private homes. So everybody benefits.
In conclusion, our journey through the realm of techno-feudalism is fraught with challenges, yet ripe with opportunities for transformation. By embracing innovation, regulation, and collective action, we can navigate these turbulent waters and forge a path toward a more equitable and sustainable digital future. So let us embark on this quest together, armed with knowledge, courage, and a steadfast commitment to shaping a world where technology serves the common good. If you found this analysis insightful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your support keeps us motivated to bring you more engaging content. Remember, stay informed, stay engaged.